Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first session of Hardly Heroes with my two favorite players of all time.
The first time it's been true.
Finally, he says it.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I'm excited. Got a different style of game today. I think 2 players, so it's going to be different in terms of how we're playing it. But also, you're watching this pre-recorded. It's not live, so trying some new things. So, in the comments, positives, negatives, what you think?
It'll be nice to show everyone my genius at D&D and that I don't really read chat and that everything comes from me. So
True. We can't even like read chat and pretend to not to now.
So when there's a lot less rules lawyering, we know what's going on.
Yeah.
True.
Moot reverts back to his true character, Lenny, in terms of his ideas.
Well, let's take a look at our game because we're playing Hardly Heroes, a thief game set in the city of Stromheim. It is the former capital of Eridon. It was attacked and semi-overrun by demons and then sort of reconstituted and rebuilt for a little while everything was going to hell and the Eridon was falling apart, and then it was attacked and sieged by undead, and the queen fled, and the city has sort of fallen into a state of decay. This thing that we see right here before us is the city. The big green circle around the outside is it's the outside of the city. It's grass, don't worry about it.
Okay.
The stripy bits up here and stripy bits right here, you can see these 2 large hexagons, are the walls of the outer city and the walls of the inner city. You can see there's like a little blue just outside the walls of the inner city. That's a moat. And the moat drops like 30 feet or 20 feet down to where the actual water level is, and then the moat is, who knows how deep. But it's like a 20-foot drop into the moat. It's not like nice high water levels.
What's the situation with the moat? Do people go missing in there? Maybe this isn't the right time for this question. You carry on, Dale.
I mean, I'm sure people do fall in the moat and die from time to time, but, you could, if you fall in, maybe someone can drop you a rope or a ladder before you drown, It's not good. The water there is not great. You're probably going to get a disease. There might be even dangerous animals in there. Don't go in the moat, okay? Don't go in the moat.
Is that where we toss our shit?
That's what I'm wondering. Is it an effective body disposal location?
That would be a great place to dump bodies, but also, bodies might float to the surface, so they might get found.
Okay.
Anyway, the gold is the road, and we have one main road through town. Starts in the south, goes to north, or vice versa, doesn't really matter. And then there is the ring road, which makes a hexagon around the town. So those are our major roads. Next up are all these colored areas, this like weird Rorschach painting that we're looking at. Let's break it down real quick. We have these gray zones in not necessarily all the corners, but this is full-fledged ruin area where down here is where the demons came in, and up here where the undead sieged, or where the greatest parts of the siege were. And those are parts of the town that have been just like destroyed. There might be some standing buildings there, but it's mostly rubble and crap.
The walls ruined too, or no?
The walls were ruined, but they had since been rebuilt. Demons attacked. There's a break in everything. Walls got rebuilt. Undead attacked. There was a break. Walls got mostly rebuilt. You only need a small breach, to allow a lot of things to flow in through. So those are our ruined areas, completely trashed. Next, we have this sort of gold color that stretches over here and stretches along over here. And this is abandoned territory. This is where the city is still standing. There are buildings that, in theory, you could live in, but no one lives there anymore. And you can see it's mostly around the destroyed territory and around the outer wall. That's because we don't really have town guards. We don't really have like a city watch that defends the town. And the walls were rebuilt, but they weren't they're not big, beautiful walls, they're kind of crap. And so monsters can come in, all sorts of wild creatures can come in, murderers, thieves, assassins, rogues, whatever you want can more or less scale the walls at night, as long as you're not, right at the front or right at the bottom, and come on in. So it's a little dangerous to live next to the walls. Weird things come over the walls sometimes at night. Goblins,
like what?
Monsters, shadows, spirits, fears, all sorts of things. Like this area is not doing great, generally speaking. So people try not to live near the wall. Now, at the top and at the bottom of the city, the north and the south end, these areas are more defensible, more well-structured, more populated, and so people will live right up against the walls.
Sorry, quick question about the abandoned area. Is there then the potential for monsters to be living there?
Yes. They're more likely to live in the ruined area than the abandoned area, but yes, in theory, there could be monsters lurking in the abandoned areas.
So, like, where our house is, it's not ideal.
No, living next to abandoned territory, not ideal. But if people live there, it's more or less safe. But the closer you are, the more likely there is some danger to be coming around.
That's why rent's cheap.
Yeah.
True.
The blue areas...
That's the only reason our rent's cheap, is it, mate?
The blue areas are gang-controlled zones, and they, this blue area up here includes the green zone that's within it. And the blue area down here includes the green zone that's within it. And these are the 5 major gangs in the town: the Redcoats in the north, and the Demon Slayers in the south, who sort of control the main entrance in and out of town. Those are the 2 most powerful gangs by far. Then we've got the Copperheads over here in the east. These are, this gang originated as refugees from Copper Hill. We have the Temple Guardians in the southeast. And these are sort of more of a religious gang. At some point they even had some clerics, but there was a dispute between the Demon Slayers and the Temple Guardians, and the heads of them came together to meet, and then there was bloodshed, and there are no more clerics anymore, and the remaining Temple Guardians say the Demon Slayers, attacked and killed the clerics and murdered them, and they're, awful evil heretics for it, and the Demon Slayers say the Temple Guardians started a fight and the clerics died in the process, but, it's really the Temple Guardians who are like crazy religious fanatics who are trying to use the gods to control the people.
Which god did they follow, or just general?
They follow many of the gods, but Astaire is their go-to. He is like the protector god of the city. Mm-hmm. So, and the last gang is the Pitmen, and they kind of have their own little territory off to the side. You can see that there's like abandoned zone between them and the Demon Slayers, so there's not like a lot of connection here, and there's a big break between the Pitmen and the Redcoats, so there's not like a lot. They kind of do their own thing off to the side.
What's that reputation?
Their reputation is sort of a
it's unknown.
Well, you have a local history proficiency. You're pretty familiar with all of the gangs in the area. I'm trying to find the right words to encompass this group. They're sort of we're doing our own thing and we don't really give a shit about anything else. Like, we don't care about controlling the ins and the outs of the city. We're not particularly religious. And we're not like this collection from another area that's representing the refugees. They're more of like a gang that doesn't have political aspirations, and they're just ganging it up on the sides. Now, they're called the Pitmen because this triangle right here is one of these major towers in town. There are 3 big towers. They're known as the vents. The north one and the south one go down to the underground layers within the town, providing air to them. And this one goes to the pits, which are way, 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 way down. That's where you can like do some resource extraction and some mining from deep within the city. These towers are very large, many-storied, and they've got nice marble slats on the bottom and near the top. So that way, if anyone, first off, you can't even climb it because it's just smooth marble and you can't climb smooth marble. But if somehow you got, 20 feet up past the marble slats and then you climbed the stone tower, you just come across another section of impassable marble that you can't climb. But if somehow you got past that, if somehow you managed to, fly your way to the top to where there's entrance areas for the vents, you would just run into some bars that would prevent you from getting into the actual vents. But if somehow you were to polymorph or turn into gas or somehow get through these bars, you would find that it is just a deep shaft that goes down to the earth with probably tubes or passageways or pipes or some sort of ventilation system that is not particularly well labeled that somehow feeds air down to the lower regions. If you climbed into one of these things, you don't really know what you would see, but you wouldn't see a series of passages that are clearly labeled that would help you navigate the underground. You're more looking at like exit pipes in a sewer, and it's just a crazy mess. Which brings us to the layers of the city, because Stromheim is a stratified town. We have the surface layer, where most of our campaign is going to take place. You've got the inner city, which is within this wall and this moat. It's where all the rich, fancy people live. That's where the clerics are, where any remaining spellcasters are, where the nobility are, where all of the true power lays. And they do their own thing. If you need healing, you're going to have to go to the inner city to get healing. If you want to talk to a wizard, you're probably going to have to go to the inner city to talk to a wizard. If you need to talk to a noble or a knight or someone with, like, you know, oodles of a real power, you'd have to go to the inner city. You've got the outer city, this zone over here where most of our campaign is going to take place. And then we've got the layers. Now, the first layer is just the basement layer of the city. You could call it, it's usually referred to as the tunnels. This is where your regular basements are, your tunnels that might connect to houses or like go underneath the street and up to another building on the other side. It's like the first 25 feet underground in regular old Earth. Below that, between like 25 feet underground and 40 feet underground, is the water table. This is where you've got earth, you've got and sand, and you've got water that sits there. And so if you try to tunnel down too deep, you just hit water, which is great because the town is powered by wells. Wells in individual homes, wells in public squares, wells all over the place that, you know, reach to this water table. That's also where the moat is. The moat hits the water table. Below that, if you tunnel below the water table, you hit an area of soft rock between 40 and 70 feet down, and that is where you get the dungeons. Dungeons are professionally made for wealthy, powerful, or important people. They're often trapped and almost always guarded if they're in active use. They're a mix of old construction and new construction, because the city's been around for a long time.
What would be in these dungeons? Just like their wealth?
That's a great
Things
question.
They want to hide?
You know, if you are a wealthy person and you have some things that you really need to protect, maybe you've got like a great wine cellar that is worth, you know, hundreds of thousands of gold, and you don't want to just put it 20 feet under your house where someone could just tunnel in from the side and break into your wine cellar just by digging through earth and then steal it all. You might build it down into a dungeon. Wine's a bit of an, unless you're a real connoisseur, you wouldn't do this, but down in the soft rock, no one's going to be able to tunnel in to find you. They're also not actually going to know where your dungeon is, because the tunnels, they're going to sit under your house. You can't tunnel down 10 feet and then over 50 feet because you're just going to run into someone else's basement or someone else's tunnel. But if you dig 40 feet or 50 feet down below the water table, there's a lot of space down there. And so you can build a dungeon, you can tunnel down, and then you can tunnel over, and maybe your dungeon is actually under somebody else's house. And that's in the soft rock that usually drips water and it's kind of humid and moist. Mm-hmm. Down below that, you hit the hard rock, and that is where the layers are. These are built to be centers of power, maybe small towns in and of themselves, or some other sort of like significant power center. These are very old construction. This has been here for hundreds, maybe even 1,000 years. They're almost always trapped, they're almost always guarded, and they're almost always lived in. Nobody knows how many layers lurk under the city. There could be 5, or there could be 30. They could be inhabited by beholders, or they could just be like centers of power for criminal organizations, or well-to-do people, or secret societies, or cultists, or who knows what.
Does anyone ever come up from like these layers and like talk about it? There been any like I guess stories about one of these layers?
There are going to be lots of stories. Any story that you've heard from a D&D campaign or a fantasy book about what happens down in dungeons and monster lairs, you've probably heard going through this city. But these are supposed to be relatively secret things. People don't advertise the location of their lairs or dungeons. And if you have access to a lair or dungeon, you're probably a fairly trusted member of whatever organization or family owns it and runs it. And you wouldn't go being like, oh yeah, I was down in King Hawthorne's lair the other day and blah, blah, blah. Like,
no, but like we've probably heard like there's kids going missing, and then you hear like, oh, so and so like takes them to his lair.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's probably a rumor that's out there somewhere.
The entrance to these places, like if you were going to a lair, is that likely that there would just be a tunnel from the surface, or would you have to like journey through the different layers to get to it?
There's likely, well, you're gonna have a surface entrance. It might be a secret, entrance that's well hidden that nobody knows about, or it could be a in the throne room there's a staircase with a big golden lock that sits on it and that goes down into the layers deep below.
If you were really trying to hide it, you might have it like, you have to enter through the northwest of the city on the surface, then travel to the northeast of the city on the tunnel layer, then travel down to the dungeon layer and head like beyond the city walls, and then you go down.
Anything's possible. These places, these dungeons and these layers and the pits below them are the source of great rumor and all sorts of theory crafting. So I'm not going to tell you anything about them because you've never been in any of them. But any idea that you can come up with is worth running with and worth investigating.
Have I ever been like the tunnel? I've been in the tunnel layer, right?
Sure.
I've been like people's basements and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. You probably even have a cellar of your own, which would qualify as a tunnel technically, or in the tunnel lair. But the dungeons and the lairs, that's where all the good stuff is. That's where all the well-protected things are. And the last one below that, about 110 feet down, are the pits, which is what the pitmen are known for. Their vent runs down into the depths of the pits and provides air for down here. These are for deep delving exploration. They're made by dwarves in ages long past. They're likely to be abandoned, but there's some resource extraction that used to come from these areas and may still come from these areas. The pits are rumored to be a mix of hard rock, and soft earth. So, well, if we ever get to the pits, which we may never get to the pits, that's what's down there. And the pitmen, the gang, they're called that because their territory encompasses the vent that goes to the pits. And they're also sometimes known as the pit vipers, the pit bulls, any word that has pit in front of it, you could slap on and you call it the pitiful. Are
they like miners there, or do they just happen to live where the vent is?
They just happen to live where the vent is. Yeah, it's one of those, you live on the Green Hill, so you're called the Green Hill Gang, and it's just
Have anyone ever tried to attack the vents? Have we ever heard a history of this or
no?
Like in deep history.
Every now and then there's probably some crazy fool who's tried to do something like that, but there's no.
Okay. There's never been like a concerted effort.
Yeah, because back before the city decayed into chaos, there was order throughout the streets, and no one ever had an interest in, there's no value in destroying the vents. They feed the underground part of the city. They're hard to attack. They're huge constructions. You're gonna get seen if you try and do it. You're probably just gonna fall to your death. Has anyone tried to deface the Washington Monument? Probably, but it's not like a thing,
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the city. That's the city
Sounds
that
cool.
we live in. And with that, let us introduce...
Wait, one last question about the city before we move to the characters. Is this like the most populous city in Arcadia? Or maybe not anymore, but it once was. Is this one of the largest?
It used to be the most
centers?
populous city by far.
We don't know if it is still. We don't know what the fuck's going on under.
Right. Historically, census data is not great. I don't think it was until the 1700s or 1800s that the Swedes started doing regular censuses that were pretty good. And then their population turned out to be 5 times lower than they expected. There used to be a Roman position called the censor, whose job it was to take a census of Rome and decide who's a citizen and who's not a citizen. But they only ever had to work with like one city, maybe some surrounding towns in later years. So good demographic information is just not available to us. It's definitely the largest city nearby, but how would you know? How would one measure these things?
Well, I don't know, like if someone from Stromheim goes to Wickthron or Enter, are they like, oh my god, this place is huge, or are they like, this seems familiar or small?
You've never been?
Yeah, I know, but that's how you might. That's I think that's the kind of like.
But that's then
knowledge
gonna
that would
be
exist.
Yeah, but it's just gonna be like, Joe went to this place and he said it was bigger, and then Stacy went there and she said it was nicer, but it was actually smaller. And now you've just got
Stacy's always saying things look smaller.
I know, you can't trust her. I mean, her mom's pretty great, but you can't trust her.
She's got bad gauge skill.
Yeah. And with that, let's take a look at our characters here. Who do we got?
All right. Well, I am playing Luther, who is a 6'2", dark-skinned, short black hair, short like cut beard and goatee kind of situation. He's well built. I've got 16 strength. So he's a large, intimidating guy. He's wearing simple trousers and shirt with a long wool black overcoat on top of that, under which he has some daggers that he hides. And, he doesn't make a show of his weapons, but he does have weapons on him. Luther is from, some of the poorest parts of the city. He's got a relatively close-knit family that he's lived with. He's well-versed on living in a sort of dangerous and violent place. He's been on the streets, kind of like in and about shady goings on for basically his whole life. His family were doing, his parents did the same thing. He's doing the same thing. And if he has any kids, they'll probably end up doing the same thing as well. So he's not like a necessarily evil person, but given the stuff that he's seen and the place that he lives, he doesn't have too many qualms about, fucking someone over, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been fucked over plenty of times himself. And his sister has recently passed away.
Oh.
And that sister has quite an odd son, who is Muton's character.
I'm going to be playing Pigeon. I'm a 6'3", 155-pound human thief. Pigeon is very lanky. He wears very loose-fitting clothing. He's got a big shirt and like long trousers that are a little bit too short for him, so you can see his ankles. He's bald. And one of his signature traits are his eyes are like wide open at all times. Like he's like this. Can't really control it. He blinks and stuff, but yeah, that's how he looks. And he has a lasso that he brings around with him made of silk, and he uses daggers and throwing daggers.
For those of you that aren't used to imperial measurements, 6'3" is quite tall. And 155 pounds is very thin for that height. I can't do the conversions in my head, but this is a very tall, very thin man. I myself,
to put it in context, Luther's 6'2" and 220 pounds.
Yeah, I am 5'11" and 180 pounds in the real world. So this is, 10 centimeters, 8 centimeters taller than me, 5 centimeters taller than me. I don't know, and 30 pounds lighter than me.
Yeah, Pigeon's got a bit of like a hunch too. Like he's always walking around like a bit like this.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, like what? Oh, he's like hunched over.
Yeah, he's like hunched over a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and I have a short sword and daggers.
Excellent.
I don't always carry the short sword with me.
Our party is ready to get involved in some thieving, stealing, underworld things. We've been on the brink of this lifestyle for a while, and by which I mean there's been some theft, there's been some crime, there's been some, screwing over of people. There's been some low-level criminal activity. But the reason we're picking up our campaign where we are today is because there is an event that has transpired that is going to bring us from the wannabe, would-be low-level thieves to the adventures to come.
Right.
So, this day, let's get the right track here.
Oh yeah, Pigeon's mom died like 2 months ago.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like looking after him in the wake of this because he's a special child, and his mum kind of looked after him. So with her being gone, Luther's kind of stepping in and make sure he's going to be okay.
Yeah, another thing that Pigeon does that's a little bit funky is like as he walks, he does like the pigeon thing where he's like it's like kind of like always tweaking and like moving and like looking around, and that's very much like who he is. He can never like sit still.
He's got some tics and some nervousness.
Yeah.
He's got some stuff going on.
Right. Excellent. So, the reason we are picking up our campaign here today is our two characters live together in this house on the north side of town, near the abandoned area between the Copperheads and the Redcoats. And one day, the two of you are hanging out inside your house, doing whatever it is that you're doing, shooting the shit. Maybe you're making breakfast, maybe you're making lunch. Doesn't really matter. You're doing your own thing. When you hear a commotion in the streets, something that happens all the time, you probably don't pay too much notice to it. But there's like a cry and some shouts that are happening, and you go about your business because you live in a crime-ridden city. This is par for the course. But then you hear this pounding upon your door. That is a little different. By the time you get to the door, whoever it is that gets there, or maybe you both get there, maybe you're both just in the living room, someone's sitting down, and someone else opens the door, but you can all see it. But you're both witness to this event. As you get to the door, you can see that there is a dead man there, recently killed. He must have just knocked on your door, and then in that time it took you to get to the door, he either died or was finished off. And standing over his body, you're actually crouching over the body, going through his pockets and his stuff, are a pair of brigands, a pair of thieves. And as you open the door, they take whatever they have in their hands that they've pulled off this body and immediately dart into the streets and begin to run. When you look at the body at your door, you can see it is that of one of the Redcoats, a young nobleman who has more time and more money than sense and plays at being thieves and brigands for funsies. And they're this sort of hoity-toity, well-trained, well-educated youth of the nobility who run their own gang in town. And one of them has run afoul of some enemies and has been murdered on your doorstep and had their possessions taken while the thieves have fled into the streets. And as you stand here, looking at this, heads appear in windows, doors across the street from you begin to open, and it is apparent to your neighborhood that this young nobleman is dead on your doorsteps. You don't know if anyone else has seen the murder, but he's dead on your doorsteps, and we're gonna ask you to make some rolls right now. But I also want to make it very
quick
clear.
question. What's the situation with murder, though? Because this place isn't actively enforced. The law is not actively enforced, is it?
Not in the typical ways that you and I would think. You're not going to get a constable coming up and arresting you. But if the other Redcoats, or if the nobility think that you've murdered one of their own, they will come for you. And they'll probably have their own justice system that they do, or they might just do whatever they want. But you don't know if any of these neighbors have seen the murder, that they can speak that you didn't do this. But the man's dead on your steps, and that word will inevitably get back to this young man's family. The first thing I want out of the party are a set of charisma checks to see if you can like get a good look at the faces of these youths who have done the murder. Oh.
I rolled a 16, 23.
I rolled a 19 for 34.
So you both succeed.
I just want to say, I don't only look for the thieves. I'd like to see which people are looking out their windows. Like, I live here. I know who they are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So
you do know the neighbors. You can see them.
You know one neighbor especially well. Susie.
Yes, I know Susie well here.
But with the
She's a liar.
34 is such a good roll that you not only get a look at these people, but you recognize one of them. You recognize one of them as a young man named Nero, who works for the Copperheads, or is a member of the Copperhead gang. You don't know much about him. You've seen him. You might have had a drink with him once upon a time, or like drank near him. And you recognize that one of the two.
If we were to like to take Nero, right, and then turn him into the Redcoats, that's like snitching, and the Copperheads would fucking hate us, I would assume. That's my assumption.
Okay. Well, this is the point where I'm going to turn it over to the two of you, because I've been talking for half an hour now, and it's time to start the game.
You only wanted that one charisma roll?
That's it.
Perfect. I think I'm standing in the doorway with the door open, and maybe, like, you're right, that Pigeon's like on a chair in the same room, probably getting to his feet. I sort of see Nero as he's running away, and then I look towards the windows of my neighbors who are watching, and I make a note of who's seen.
I want to just say, like, when we were, just to show you how weird Pigeon is and, like, tell you, when we were, like, having our breakfast, like, Luther's in the kitchen cooking, Pigeon was just sitting at the table with, like, hit one of his throwing knives and was doing, like, the thing where he's, like, just through. And that was, like, what Pigeon was doing for hours on end in the morning.
So, describe our house. We've got a room. Does it have an upstairs and a basement and a backyard?
You have a small, overgrown backyard. You have an upstairs. You do have a cellar as well, to keep your food as cool as possible and as dark as possible.
So it's like it's what we would call a 2 up, 2 down. Downstairs you've got the living room and the kitchen. Upstairs you've got 2 bedrooms.
That's about right.
And then you've got the backyard.
Yeah. That's fair.
Okay. So, noting the people, I snap my head back into the room and say, Pigeon, give me a hand with this. And I start trying to pull the body into the house.
And I'll get up and help you pull him inside.
To the basement.
Shouldn't we take him to the Redcoats?
We need some time to think. Let's get him inside.
Okay.
Can't leave him there on the doorstep.
And I'll pull him into the basement.
You can drag him in and shut the
I try to
door.
not fuck the body up too much.
Yeah.
How's he been
got some
killed?
holes. It leaves a red streak from outside to inside.
Well, I hope to be able to carry it rather than to drag it.
Sure. Well, then a series of plops.
Yeah. Yeah. So once we get him down into the cellar, I light a candle, or I can run upstairs and grab a candle from the room we were in and bring it downstairs into the basement. And then I want to hold it. I say to Pigeon, hold this. And then I start looking through the guy's belongings.
Yeah. You're going to find that he's carrying a rapier. He doesn't have a money bag, but he does have in one of his coat pockets a scrap of paper. Actually, a scrap of papyrus, upon which has been written down just a little bit.
He can't
of
read very well.
text.
Yeah. So, but I can read. So I pull that out, and yes, but you've got to remember, compared to the people around me, the fact that I can read at all
It's impressive.
is quite an impressive thing. So I say, note. I'll just read it. Yeah, give me a moment. It's complicated. So I unfurl the note.
It says 339 Harrow Way. The doorman is quick to anger.
The doorman is quick to anger. Do I know where Harrow Way is?
It's a big city.
Yeah.
Make me a local history check at
Yes,
I like -2.
Classic.
Oh,
Nice.
you barely pass. Yeah, Harrow Way is one of these corner streets back in the ruined zone.
Interesting.
ooh. I say, it's an address.
They're gonna look for this guy, aren't they, Luther?
What, the redcoats?
I'll point to the guy on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure his mummy and his daddy will come looking for him eventually. We're kind of in a bind here, Pidge. I don't know what we're gonna do. No one's gonna believe we didn't do this. I think our best bet, we gotta find the guy who did it. I know him. His name's Nero. He's in the Copperheads, though.
Well, are we gonna turn him in?
We don't have to turn him in. We maybe get proof. We can just prove that we didn't do it.
I shrug.
It's either that, or we get rid of the body and we play dumb. Go and intimidate the neighbors. I mean, I think maybe I should go and have a word with them anyway, make sure that they know that we had nothing to do with this. And, you know, this area's been down on its luck recently. The last thing we need is the gangs poking around in our business here. Probably best everyone keeps their mouth shut. I'm sure they'll see it that way.
But what about the body?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's down here for now.
Okay.
We could dump it in the moat. We could leave it in the abandoned zone. In the ruins for the monsters.
Pigeon will sit there and think.
Yeah, Uther paces back and forth in the room, tapping his fingers against his legs. Nervous energy. Not sure what to do. I think after a few minutes, he turns to Pigeon and says, "We're gonna go and talk to the neighbors as soon as possible. Do
Is
you
this
want
guy wearing like a coat, Neil?
Yeah,
I'm gonna take the coat off.
it's a nice red coat.
I'm gonna leave it downstairs. We
like
keep this
downstairs in the
secret?
basement? Can we
Yeah.
keep it? You thinking of joining the Redcoats, Pidge?
Could be useful in the future.
Oh, yeah, for what? You gonna go digging around in their business? You get yourself killed wearing that. They'll take one look at you, they're gonna know you're not a Redcoat boy. Come on.
No, but you could.
Perhaps. I'm too old to be a Redcoat. It's all kids.
Okay, I'll bundle the coat up and we'll take it out and throw it away with the guy's body if we decide to do that.
So okay, let's keep the coat separate for now. I think we need to go and talk to the neighbors. I don't know if Pigeon wants to come along for that. Might be best he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think Pigeon will.
So I think I'm going to go and do that. I think you need to... So I'll say, all right, listen. I'm going to go talk to the neighbors and smooth things out, make sure they see things our way. You're going to need to clean the front step. Clean the hall. Get rid of the blood.
Clean, okay. And I'll go upstairs and get the sponge. What do we have? A rag?
Rags.
Get the
A mop.
rag.
A rack, yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Sure.
get the rags and I'll go to the local well, I assume, and get some water.
Yep.
And then start scrubbing the front step.
You have a house. You owe rent from time to time, but your house is not nice enough to have its own well in it. So there are public fountains, public wells, public pumps on the street corners all over the place that you can go to gather water from. You'll just have to haul a bucket there, pump some water, and haul it back home, just like an ordinary person.
Yep.
So how many neighbors did I see looking out the window?
Well, as you head out onto the streets, you can see that there are folks on the streets. You will have a corner lot, so you're actually at a bit of a crossroads, and it's daytime. This is a daytime murder that you see right here. And so there's actually quite a few people around. On the streets themselves, outside of the houses, maybe a half dozen, maybe a little more, like eight or nine. As that, they're coming and going at the same time, so the count doesn't stay even. And then there are the people who are inside on the second floor, who might be looking down or might be sitting on a balcony or a porch on their property, but still sort of outside looking at what's happening. All told, giving a quick glance around, there's probably 20 people who are witnessing you and Pigeon coming out and the blood on your doorsteps. How many of those saw the actual murder? You don't know. The murder didn't happen until you were...
Is that like
before you came outside.
There's a group of people talking, though, outside our house.
Oh, yeah.
I know the people in this group, I assume.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I walk up to them with like an exasperated look. I say, can you believe this? The gang's on our doorsteps. This is the last thing we need.
What are you going to do about it?
I don't know. The boy, he's been a lot of suffering these last few months. This is just the last thing we need right now. I don't know. Clean up first. I just, did you guys see anything? Did you see those people?
What people? Says Anthony, one of the men standing in the circle.
The ones who stabbed him.
Anthony looks to the others and looks back to you. I didn't see anyone stab him.
What do you mean you didn't see them? They were right there. They were hollering up and down the street right before.
Someone's always hollering up and down the street.
Well, you must have seen something, Dave.
Dave sort of looks away. Well, I didn't hear anything until someone pointed me to it. Then I saw a body on your doorstep. But I don't know anything, okay? I was minding my own business.
What about you, Mary? You saw something, or were you magically just looking at the wall while this happened?
My eyes were down until...
Okay, I see how it is. So I speak louder now so that the 20 or so people around can hear me. I see. No one saw anything then. This is my problem to deal with, is it? Another fucking bad twist of fate. Jaxel really got it out for me, and you're all just going to turn away. You're just going to look down at the ground. You're going to gossip about me and my boy after everything we've been through. This is fucked up. This is even from you, Mark. This is fucked up.
A man named Brandon will kind of raise his hand and step forward a little bit, be like, I saw two kids running away from your house.
Well, yeah. How are they dressed? Black cloaks, right?
Yeah. Long, loose clothing, floating black cloaks, something like that.
Well, I'll handle this, like I always do for things on this street. But if the rest of you could, keep this between yourselves, don't go running your mouth off to the redcoats or to the copperheads or whoever else the fuck comes looking for this.
There's some nervous looking around because everyone knows that this information, people will pay well for this. If you're a poor person, one way you can make information is by reporting something interesting to one of these gangs who will always pay for solid information. Anyone can say, hey, I just saw a redcoat get murdered over at Luther and Pigeon's house to someone, and
yeah,
if that person is connected, well, hey, you might find some silver or even some gold in your pocket for that sort of information. If they can report it before anyone else does, well, that's even better. So no one's making eye contact with you. But
yeah, well,
one of these fuckers.
Well, yeah, I'd like to make a charisma check to try and single someone out that I think is who's like, maybe he doesn't like me. Maybe we've had a run in the past. Maybe he's really avoiding my gaze. Like, I just want to try and find someone.
Yeah, go ahead, make me a charisma check.
That's 2.
It's old lady Mary, the one who was knitting and didn't catch anything. Because old lady Mary is real down on her luck. She doesn't have any more kids. They're all dead. And she's only really got her life savings to work on, which isn't very much. And she can do some knitting, but like her hands are old and arthritic. And this, like, she's hard pressed for cash, and this is easy money.
She got a husband.
No. Old
She's
lady
just on her
Mary's
own.
by herself. She's on her own. No more kids to look out for her.
Now, I don't take this the wrong way, Neil/chat. What's the etiquette around hitting women? What I specifically want to know, like, if
no,
you
we
walk
live
into
in
a bar and
fairly
hit a woman, is someone likely to kick off on you for that?
No, we live in a fairly egalitarian society. There are women knights. The queen ruled this place for a long time. She wasn't like the king's husband, the king's wife. You can beat a woman just as well as you can beat a man. The problem is that she's an elder who doesn't have much going on for her. And you're a nice, young, strong, strapping young man. There's no problem with beating her because of her femininity, but because of her age, that's a problem. That's some real elder abuse right there.
There's a man stood next to her, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like in the circle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this man, it's probably Mark, isn't it? Fucking Mark.
Mark.
I like sort of scan the group of people after I said the last comments around keeping it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of look at Mark and I go, "What, you planning to sell me out, Mark? Is it?" After everything we've been through together, I take a few steps towards him.
But hey, I didn't say shit. Mind your own business, Luther.
I push him.
Hey, the
You're
hell?
a fucker, Mark. You come after me, I'll fucking kill you, okay? That goes for all you here.
Do you give the old lady like a...
Yeah, I look at the old lady right there. This is not my fault. My family's been through enough these last few months. It's bad enough that we've got to live in this fucking shithole without stuff like this happening to us. So keep your mouths shut.
You see Pigeon like waddling back with his like half-filled bucket and his rag.
Mm-hmm.
And then I give Mark another shove. And then I turn around and walk back into the house.
Okay. You go in with Pigeon. Pigeon begins the dirty work.
I help him.
Yeah.
I help him. Yeah, we clean the floor together.
Okay.
The body can't stay here. The body can't stay here.
Yeah, I know, Pigeon. What do you think? We go to that address? Maybe we can find out something about the people who did this. Maybe we can find something we can show them when they come knocking. Either that, or we can't snitch. But if we can track down Nero and kill him when they come looking for him, well, you can't snitch on a dead man. But we can say that he's responsible and we sort it out.
We move the body out of here, put it on another door, and then we go and find Nero.
Those fuckers outside, one of them's gonna say something. And the redcoats are gonna know about this before the sun goes down.
If they kick down our door and find a body, it'll be worse. You know how our landlord is.
Yeah, he's been grumpy ever since.
To the moat?
You can't do it in broad daylight. We'll have to do it tonight.
We'll get Nero,
Yeah.
but the other one to help us.
To help us? No.
They gotta
won't
clean
help
up what
us.
they did.
Well, I gotta pay somehow. Okay, look, I think we're not gonna be able to move this body through the streets easily. We might need to, well, do a bit of butchery. I'm gonna go get some rags, some cloth, and
Before this campaign starts with hacking up a dead body, which is also great. You know me, I'm a sadist. I love the hacking up of dead bodies.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I want to make sure we're not accidentally looking over. I want to make sure that this is an intentional decision. In our character creation session, we talked about ransoming people. Ransoming bodies is not too different from ransoming people. If you were to take this young man's body back to his family and be like, "Oh, we have found this body. We think it is yours," you might be able to get some money out of that. Now, that would also mean that you are immediately embroiling yourself in scandal and you're calling a lot of attention, and there's going to be questions about how this man died and why was it on your doorstep. So that might not be something you want to do. But I want to make sure that we're all aware of the social situation where you could turn in this information yourself and turn in the body yourself and play the humble, oh, poor me, my lord. But that's definitely, like, now the Redcoats know who you are, and there's some FaceTime and stuff going on there. So just want to make sure we're not accidentally overlooking this as an option.
Yeah.
Do hack it up into pieces and throw it in the river if you want.
The cellar floor, is it dirt?
Yes.
So in theory, we could dig a grave down here.
Yes.
Maybe we could just bury him down here.
I don't think they'll believe us if we bring him a body.
Yeah, I don't think so either. You know what those kids are like anyway. They're violent. You know, they're chaotic. They just need an excuse, really. They don't really care about the truth. And plus, we wouldn't even. It's not like we could go to their parents. You know, we'd have to go into their territory, approach the gang themselves. They wouldn't believe us. But you know, whatever's going on at Harrow Lane, there's probably more to this story. They might not believe us if we turn up on their doorstep with a body and no story. But if we know some more of the wider context, if we can fill in a bit more of the details, you know, confirm some things that they already know, maybe then they'd be more likely to take us on our word. Maybe we could bury the body down here for now, for, you know, safekeepings, making sure nothing happens to it. We could go to Harrow Lane, Harrow Way, find out what's going on down there, maybe even track down Nero. And then when the Redcoats come looking for it, we can say, you know, we've got the body here, we buried it respectfully, we've still got his weapon, and we know some more about who killed him and what's been going on.
Let's do it.
All right, I'll go and get the shovel.
Let's just leave him here and not bury. If we bury him and they come looking and they kick down our door, it'll look weird.
It already looks weird, though.
Can we, like, dig a grave and kind of, like, conceal it, Neil?
Totally.
Yeah.
You can dig a pit.
Okay.
And since you're not trying to dig, like, a proper 6-foot grave, you can just spend a few hours digging a hole, putting the body in the hole, filling it up and tamping it down. You'll be left with a lot of extra dirt to toss into some corner. And unless you spend, you know, a full day trying to cover up the site, it'll probably look a little disturbed, a little bit.
Like a shitty rug upstairs that we can just throw over it? Rug on the floor is pretty weird, but yeah.
But a rug on a dirt floor in your cellar is like that's a red flag.
Okay. Yeah, we can dig a small hole.
We gotta have some shit that we could throw down there, though. I think we should spend more than an hour digging. I think we should. It's the morning, right? And we maybe go to Harrow Way tonight. I say
tonight? We spend the day doing it.
We spend the day digging it. Yeah. We could always go and buy. You know, what could we buy? Like, we could buy some just crates, or like maybe a rug, or just something to throw on there. I mean, hopefully no one comes checking the disturbedness of the dirt anyway. But I think the first step is let's dig this grave. So I go and get the shovel from upstairs. I take off my button-down shirt, as you would call it in America. I lay it nicely on the chair. Just a shirt.
Oh, okay.
I lay it down nicely. So I'm now in my trousers and my white vest, which in the UK we would call a wife beater, but not that he's got a wife, but that's what it's to be called.
What we call it here too.
Yeah.
I roll up my trousers, and I've got my wife beater on, and I take the shovel, I go downstairs, and I get sweaty, and I start digging with a lot of 16 strength of mine. We only got one shovel, so Pigeon can just watch, or can maybe finish the cleaning while I'm doing.
I'll go to the shops and I'll grab just some crates. How much for some big crates, Neil?
Describe the sort of crates you're looking for. Like a barrel or a box or what?
Maybe like a chest, a traveler's chest, just like a box.
Yeah, like a big chest.
let's see. Large wooden chest, which is 3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet, is 200 copper or 2 gold.
That's too much.
I'll haggle.
I'll give you 1 gold for this.
Fuck off!
Yeah. We don't need the chest so much as we just need some wooden boxes. Like, you could probably steal some from.
Unfortunately,
side,
the generic piece of shit box that doesn't really serve a purpose but provides cover for you doesn't really exist. Everything is pretty intentional and well purposed.
What do you mean? Every RPG I've ever played has multiple in every single room, usually filled with like a carrot, a turnip, and 1 gold piece.
Yes, and they keep bullets in their refrigerators too. I'll
point at the barrel in the store.
How much for this?
40-gallon barrel, 250 copper.
Oh my.
And
Fuck
I
it.
leave the store.
Yeah.
Fuck it. All right, I'm digging my hole.
Well, you dig. When your blisters begin to form on your hands, you pass the shovel off to Pigeon, who digs a little bit more. You organize the dirt. Eventually, you got a good hole here.
We take off his jacket. Does he have anything else on him of note? Any signet rings? I would assume not.
No. If he had anything else of value, it was swiped. They didn't take the rapier. They didn't take the cloak. They probably didn't find the note, but they would have found any rings and any gold like right away. That's probably what they were looting.
I fold up the coat nicely and put the rapier on top of it and keep it somewhere in the house. That's so it looks respectful.
Maybe we plant the coat on someone else. Send in a tip.
The thing is, we look so guilty right now with the way this sets up. We've got the weapon, we've got the body. Everyone's seen it happen on our doorstep. I'm not sure a bit of evidence like that is going to do much to swing it away from us. I think the only hope we've got here is to either keep stum or find out what actually did happen.
Okay.
So we finished burying the body.
And you keep
Neil.
the coat.
This is one of the worst ideas I've ever seen, Nick.
Which idea? Which idea? Sorry.
I don't know why we buried him and didn't just turn him in.
Well, you would have just gone to the redcoats and turned it in.
I would have just. Well, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. I just think it's bad. I think this is a bad idea in game or out of game.
We'll say something in game then.
All right. No.
You're doing it, Steven, right now.
No, I'm not. Because Pigeon would go with it. He's down. He's fucking going with it. I'm fine.
Good. Yeah, fine. Good. So, I'm sweaty and I'm dirty. I take the remainder of that bucket of water that Pigeon got from the well before and wash myself.
Mm-hmm.
And get redressed properly, put my shirt back on. I go up into the secret cupboard below the stairs and get my short sword. And my scabbard, and I belt it to my waist. And I get my chainmail shirt as well out of that. I get yours out as well.
I put my
and I throw them down on the table. So I'm imagining a scene where you're maybe still in the basement, and as you come up on the dining room table, I've got the two chain shirts and my sword belt on the table, and I'm just strapping the sword belt to my waist as you come up, and I say, "We got to be ready for tonight."
I'll start putting the leather armor on.
Now.
Oh yeah, you've got leather armor. Sorry, my bad.
For the viewers, just as a reiteration here, how you present yourself to the world says a lot about who you are and what your intentions are, and will affect the way people view you. The ordinary way for most people is like a short-sleeved shirt that wraps around in front and has like a lapel that crosses, and it comes down to, above the knees with a belt across it. So it's sort of like a long shirt that kind of ends in a skirt. With short sleeves. And this shows that you're not hiding any weapons, that you don't have a lot of wealth on you. You're just an average and ordinary person, and you're not dangerous, right? This is the common look. The next rung up is when you're wearing long clothing or loose clothing where a weapon could be easily hidden on you and there'd be no way to notice short of patting you down. this is what our players are normally dressed as. And this says that you are maybe middle class, you guys aren't. Maybe you're fashionable, or maybe you are wanting to make sure that you can hide some weapons on you in some way, shape, or form. This sort of signals that you have some money or some status, or that you might secretly be a dangerous person. This is the, like, I'm cool, I'm worth something look. The next rung up in terms of status is if you are carrying a knife or a club or a dagger or a staff or something that could be used as a weapon, but isn't like only useful as a weapon openly and visibly. Right? That says I actually have something to protect, or that I am a dangerous player in this game that we call, crime. The next rung up is that you are carrying a real weapon on you. You're carrying a sword, or you're carrying armor on you, chainmail leather. This says that I am expecting violence in my life. It says that I have something of value. Your weapon or your armor is clearly highly valuable. It says that you're here to cause trouble or pick a fight, that you're important, and that you're very dangerous. So if you walk down the street in chainmail and a sword, you are telegraphing to the world that you are expecting a fight and you're looking for danger. And you're also telegraphing that someone might want to kill you for your own shit. And the last last thing, Nick, is if you're carrying a shield. And if you're carrying a shield, that says you are about to murder somebody right now and, like, shit is going down immediately. And so those are our 5 levels of power projection. Go ahead.
The lane, Arrow Way, it's in this ruined part of the city over here.
Yeah, in the northeastern section of the ruined city.
If you're in the ruins.
So I'm thinking that the reason why we're okay with how we're dressed is that we're going to be going at night, and we're going to be very quickly outside of the populated zone.
Totally. Yeah, you'll be, if you're walking through the abandoned area or the ruined area, like, you probably won't be running into very many people to begin with.
Bets are off.
And also that it's dangerous there, so there's another reason to be armed. That isn't a malicious one, necessarily.
That's true.
Or you might question why you would even be there in the first place if you didn't have ill intent.
Right. If you were to run into somebody else in the ruined section of town, it's suspicious to begin with, but if you're walking around the ruined section of town with chainmail and a sword, like, people are probably going to think that you're there as murderers and thieves who are there to kill them. Like, the first impression someone will think of when they see you is, these are thugs that are here to murder me for my money. And so you're probably going to get people either running immediately or fighting immediately. Cool. This is a powerful posture you're putting up. This is not a negotiation.
How effective is the idea of, like, wearing a big black cloak over to hide your armor and hide your weapons?
If you are wearing something bulky enough that it could be hiding weapons or armor, then you are projecting I'm wearing weapons or armor.
Okay.
Can we pause for like 1 minute so I can run downstairs and grab groceries that were delivered?
Yeah.
Should we can we do like a 2 or 3 minute break?
Yeah,
Is that all right?
Let's do a break.
A little bit.
Okay.
All right, party.
So we fade back in. I'm dressed. I've got my armor on. I'm waiting for the sun to go down. I'm looking at this note now. I really, really want to look at it and see if there's any hidden information on here that I might have missed. So I'm spending a lot of time looking at this just to make sure that this is literally all it says. 339 Harrow Way. The doorman is quick to anger.
Well, you can turn the note over in your hand a few times.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that's written on it. I don't know what other information might be in here other than what's written on the note that was stuffed into his coat pocket.
I feel around on the papyruses, they're like, maybe if it was in a pile and maybe there's some like indents from somebody writing on the piece of paper above it. Like if you were on a notepad and somebody wrote a message and pulled off the paper, like in the Big Lebowski, if you then took a pencil and shaded it in, you might be able to see what they wrote.
It's a piece of papyrus which has some unevenness to it, and it's definitely been folded at least once, maybe crumpled up. You do feel some texture to it. If you want, you could go grab a piece of charcoal from the fire.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But if you do this, it'll obscure the text because you'll be writing with charcoal over everything, right? And so you'll lose.
It depends how much
empty.
It depends how much empty paper there is. I could charcoal the bits that don't have the text on them.
Yep, you could just charcoal around it. Totally.
Yeah, so I try and do that.
Okay, give me a dexterity check. Because when you try and charcoal or pencil over these things, you got to be careful that you that you use the right amount of pressure and they don't fill in those divots.
Okay,
well, with an 18, you don't find anything.
I find it hard to imagine that you could fail at that, but fine. I'm going to assume that there's nothing there.
Oh, you can. Oh, I failed at that. And that's with a good pencil in hand, not just a piece of charcoal you pulled out of the fire pit. But you go over it. There's probably nothing there. It's probably just the texture of the papyrus itself, and you don't find anything.
Okay. All right, Pigeon.
That was a good idea.
When we get to this place, I say we just watch it for a little while. The one thing this note says is the doorman's quick to anger, so I don't think we should approach without any plan.
Okay.
Are we going suited up?
Yeah, when the sun goes down.
My friends, where is the red coat?
Where'd you put it?
In a drawer somewhere.
In the living room or in your bedroom?
In our bedroom. Or in my bedroom.
Is it our bedroom or is it my bedroom?
It's my bedroom.
Okay.
It's our bedroom because we don't stay in my mom's bedroom right now.
I do.
You stay in your sister's bedroom?
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep with fucking Pigeon, am I?
So you must have moved in here after she died, right?
Yeah, it's after she died because he's on his own now. And he can't look after himself because he's fucking weird.
You're just the weird uncle who fucking moved in to get the free housing.
No, man, that's not true.
I'm here to help you.
You need looking after. You're the weird kid running around town with a lasso.
Little column A, little column B.
I bring my lasso.
All right. Leather armor on Pigeon, lasso and daggers. Chainmail on Luther, short sword.
And daggers.
And daggers. Our party waits for nightfall. Do we have any torches? Do we have any light sources?
I've got a hooded lantern that I'll bring, but I'm not going to light it straight away. I think we're going to walk there in the dark.
You got like a tinder box with you to light it as well?
I don't have that on my character sheet, but I can.
We can say you
that
bought one.
Yeah.
Just shell out whatever
Yeah.
the cost is. You'll want that. For reference, tinder boxes are 5 silver.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, got it.
I'm gonna add one too.
All right. Night falls. No one's come for you yet. The redcoats haven't arrived. The copperheads haven't arrived. None of your neighbors have come calling. None of them have brought you a casserole to help you deal with your problems. And the two of you can venture. I mean, it looks like this X right here looks so close to the abandoned area. It must be like you're in your row housing, and then behind you is the last block, and then behind that is the abandoned area. So you can head out into the streets, dressed for a fight, and quickly make your way through the abandoned area and into the ruins of the city.
Yeah, and I know where Harrow Way is because I used to have a friend who lived on that street before it all went to shit. So I've been there before. I know how to get there from our house.
Okay. Yeah, because you made a 32 on your local, a 23 on your local history check.
Yeah.
-1, so 21. All right, it's been a while since you've been down here, and the ruins have made the streets a little bit harder to navigate. All the old, signs that you would have relied on, Alf's grocery store doesn't have the stores of food out from front of it, and the building is, toppled down. You go down a street that you would have taken before, but you can see in the siege of the undead, the buildings have just collapsed and it's a rubble pile. And you can hike over the rubble, or you can just kind of keep going around. Even the streets themselves are strewn. No one has come through and shoveled the streets clean, so you've got nice, easy walking ways. You're walking on, above, and around rubble. But you can make your way with some time in the dead of night to find Harrow Way. 339.
Do I have an idea of which end of the street it's on? 339.
No. This would have been years ago that everything fell into ruin. So if once upon a time you did know, you've forgotten, and between all the rubble and everything, it can even be a little bit hard to find street building numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think when we get to the street, the first thing I want to do is try and look at the numbers and try and gauge where 339 might be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give me an intelligence check.
20.
20.
Not bad.
It's not bad. You look around at the street. You can find one building that still has a number, and it says 257. So
I'd like to find a second building to work out which direction the number's going.
yeah, you'll
That's
walk
smart.
through the streets. When you hear the barkings of dogs, it's not uncommon. A city like this has lots of abandoned packs of dogs roaming the town.
These guys will fuck you up.
Yeah, hide, I say. And I think we slip into one of the alleyways between the houses.
Yeah, you can find the rubble-strewn alleyway, a collapsed wall on one side, a mostly intact wall on the other, roof tiles down in between. And the two of you can lurk there for a little while in the night without any lanterns lit, without any torches, just hanging out by moonlight.
Waiting for the sounds of the dogs to pass.
Yeah, it'll take a while, you know? They're out scavenging for food. Mm-hmm.
If I look up and down the street, do I see any buildings with lights on or any smoke
No.
from any buildings?
No lights on in this area, and it's too dark to see any smoke that might be rising.
Okay.
You wait a while. You poke your head out.
Yep.
You don't see any dogs. They seem to have stopped barking. You can continue to make your way down Harrow Way.
I hate dogs.
Why? Dogs they're good creatures.
I got bit by a dog once.
Yeah, well, I don't think that explains everything, but
Eventually, you will find another another building that still has numbers on it. Only this time, it looks like these numbers have been more recently erected. And the numbers are on the opposite side of the street from the first ones you read. And they say 338.
oh shit. So I can see 339 now. It's the next one over.
Who knows? There's 338. 339 must be
Opposite.
adjacent, or is it opposite?
Should be opposite. It should be even numbers on one side and odd numbers on the other, right?
All right, then.
So it's opposite. So I see the 338, sort of panicking a little bit, and then immediately like scuttle back into the darkness and look over the road to what I'm assuming to be 339.
Yeah. It's a pretty badly damaged building. It used to be 2 stories. It looks like the second story is more or less flattened, but the first story, the bottom, the ground floor, remains intact. There is some rubble near the doorway, and there's a nice heavy door still sitting there made out of wood. Once upon a time, this would have been maybe it was like a guard barracks, or maybe this was like a small temple, or maybe this was the house of a pretty good... It's hard to know what it would have been, but it has a nice solid stone construction, which is why even though the second floor collapsed, the bottom floor remains pretty intact, and why there's such a heavy door on it. It doesn't look like a large building. It looks like at least a small entryway. Who knows what what the backside might be. It's not the row housing that you live in.
I'll point to it.
You want to watch that one?
Yeah, get over here, hide. Let's watch it. Let's just wait here.
Do you want to get on the roof?
I'll point up if there is a roof.
There's just a collapsed second floor that you could scramble up to for certain.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
I
do
wanna
that.
scramble
Yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Pigeon can help me.
You know my thief skills?
You don't, not even for this. There's plenty of, unless you wanted to do it silently, then I'd need to move silently check. But to just get up here.
I would like to do it silently.
Yeah, I think we'd like to do it silently, yes.
Then move silently checks from both of you.
25.
27.
Excellent.
Thief gang! Let's go.
Let's see.
Gang, gang.
Environment.
We're so quiet. No one could possibly see us.
True.
One of the things that is important when we're talking about thief checks is sort of your gear. You're going to get bonuses and penalties on your checks for what you're wearing. If you're wearing metal armor, you have a penalty of 2 on your move silently check. If you're wearing leather armor, it's a -1. If you've got like a lot of loose gear, like you're wearing a backpack or a sword or something, that's another penalty because those are the things that could like accidentally bang into stuff. If you're encumbered, that's a penalty. And those we can do on the fly, but the one I want to talk about right now is your footwear. Normally, sandals or normal shoes is a no bonuses, no penalties. If you're barefoot or in soft slippers, you get a bonus of 2. If you've got like boots on, like proper boots, or high heels or something like that, it's a penalty of 2. And if you're in heavy boots, it's a penalty of 4. I'm assuming you have regular shoes or sandals.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And so no penalty for that. But 2 for metal armor, 1 for leather armor, 1 for loose gear. So -3 to Nick, -2 to Mooten. You still pass. It's fine.
All right, we stake it out.
You wait. And you watch.
I would like to say, like, I wear flip-flops. So if I do ever need to get rid of these shoes, like, I can just kick them off and then be gone.
You don't want to be wearing flip-flops.
What do you want me to wear? Just regular shoes?
You're gonna want to wear sandals, not flip. Because if you wear shoes that can be kicked off really quickly, you can't run.
Okay,
you
that's
cannot
fine.
run in
Sandals
flip-flops effectively. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we stake it out now.
Yeah. You watch the moon and the stars turn and wheel through the sky as the hours pass. And after who knows how long, maybe 2 hours, not a sight has been seen. It's just dark and kind of chilly.
No activity. What do you think?
Maybe you go and knock on door?
Yeah, but you know what the note said about the doorman.
Don't make him mad. We don't even know if we're in the right spot.
What if you tried to go and get a look in one of the windows?
Okay.
Pigeon will kind of scramble up, climb down, and mosey on over.
Yeah.
Sneakily.
You can mosey on over to this building. You're looking for windows. There's really only one that you can see. It's on the side of the building. The front of the building doesn't have either windows on either side of the doorway. And when you get to the side, the window that you can look through just leads into collapsed rubble. It looks like the back side of the building is also fallen, and this window just goes into a desolate, broken down room, and whatever door would have led out of it is buried behind rubble.
Got it. Okay. I'll kind of like look up to where he is, and you just be like,
I don't know what he means, so I wait.
I'll come over.
I can't see. That's the window doesn't go to this part.
What do you mean?
I explain it.
I didn't get that from what Neil said. Is there part of the building he can't see, or are you saying? I thought it sounded like you said the whole building is collapsed.
The second story collapsed. The first story mostly intact. There is a window on the side, but that leads into a room that is mostly collapsed, from which there are no other exits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The front door seems to be the only way into this building.
I climb down and go and speak to Pigeon. And I say, well, we can knock on the door, or we can go back home, or we can keep watching.
We came here.
It's only been a couple of hours.
You gonna wait another hour?
The night's still young, yeah. Let's wait another few hours or two, like 2 or 3 hours.
Another hour passes. No activity. A fourth hour. A fifth hour. You're getting tired. It's late and boring.
Yeah, no, that's enough. Okay. Here's what I'm thinking. We've got 3 options. We can go knock on the door now. We can go home. Come back another day, perhaps, think of something else. Or, in theory, I suppose, that note was meant for a redcoats. We could try and impersonate them. Wear the red coat. Like you were saying.
Just knock on door. Let's see what it is first. Maybe I should knock, so that if you need to wear the red coat, you can.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If someone answers, just make out like you're scavenging or looking for a place to stay or something. I don't know.
Okay. I'll wait for you to go hide, and then I will mosey on over to the door, and I rap on the door 3 times.
Silence. No answer.
I wait.
A minute passes. No answer.
I just bang on the door for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you make a clamor. There's no way anyone inside should not be able to hear you. But a minute passes, and there's no response.
Fucking wrong area.
No one opened door.
I yell.
Seeing him knock and nothing happen, I jump down and I go up to the building now. I want to try and make sure that this is 339. Like, I'm feeling like I'm pretty confident it should be if over the road's 338.
Right, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I will just look for a number on this building.
Wherever the numbers would have been, they're not there anymore. Maybe they've been intentionally taken down. Maybe they're on one of the collapsed sections. Maybe they fell off during the destruction.
What about buildings either side?
Same thing. Yeah, there's
an open door.
The traditional numbering system is either hanging wooden numbers or painting them on the building. And so with all the destruction and time that's passed and everything falling into a state of decay, a lot of these areas just don't have numbers on their buildings anymore.
Sure, yeah.
Pick the lock then.
Or someone has intentionally destroyed them.
Move the number.
You go to pick the lock on the door. Okay. You sit down. You take a look at this. You see that there's no lock. Or I shouldn't say that there's no lock. You see that the lock is not engaged. Pretty quick to get up to the door, open up your thief kit, and then you begin playing with the doorknob, and like the door just, the knob turns already. There's already no problems with that.
So as the door creaks open, I think we share a look as we get ready to go inside.
Yes. You open the door, Pigeon. And that is when the trap is sprung. Swinging down from the inside is a large mallet with like a makeshift spike on the front of it.
The pick lock is also find and remove traps, yeah?
It can be used for removing traps. Yes,
so in the future, I should say, I'll say it. Okay.
Yeah. But this is that, it's unlocked. I open it, and the trap is triggered. The hammer swings down with a modified 17 to strike.
I have a 2 to my surprise adjust. I don't know if that does anything.
From Dex?
My perception gives me a surprise adjust of 2.
Excellent.
Hopefully you get a dex check to try and avoid it.
Well,
or
traps are either
or something.
Saves for half or attack rolls to hit. Usually not both. And so this is the attack roll type. And it rolled a 17. And you have armor on, right? You've got leather.
AC.
So 16 AC, so it will hit you. Surprise adjust. Reaction adjust from high perception, right?
Yeah.
This modifies to see if you are surprised. So you are not, probably not surprised. Doesn't matter with the 17.
Okay.
And the mallet will strike you. The mallet with the pointy end on it will hit you for 1 plus 3, 4 points of damage as it into your side.
Okay. Pigeon, are you alright?
You do. Stupid traps.
Yeah, you gotta look out for them before you go open random doors out here.
Yeah.
Alright, you alright to carry on?
I look, what's, like, is there a stairs down, or?
Within the building, you can see that there is some sort of atrium, some sort of entryway. There's a door on the far side, or a doorway that's open, but anything beyond that is lost in the shadow because, as we mentioned before, there are no windows into this. There's only the one door, and it's nighttime. It's very dark. If you're going to go into this building, you're going to need to light a torch if you want to see anything.
Yeah, I've just realized that the doorman is quick to anger. Is probably clued that there's a trap on the door.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I take my hooded lantern out, Neil, in my left hand. I've got my short sword in my right hand, and I start walking down the corridor in front.
Yeah. The building used to be large, but with all the collapsed stuff that has gone on, it's a pretty small building to search now. The internal doors are all removed. Only that nice, heavy external door is still in place. You can see that the trap is pretty easy to reset. You just, plop the hammer back up, put this little stick back into place, and then the stick will fall when the door is opened. It'd be easy to reset the trap on your way out if you wanted.
Quick question about the building. Yeah, let's reset the trap now in case anyone comes in from behind us. I use my lantern. How dusty is this place?
Quite.
Does it look like there's like traffic through here though? Like is the door breaking through cobwebs when I open it? Or not?
No. There's no cobwebs near the door. That's not terribly unusual, but there are cobwebs in some of the corners.
Yeah,
there
it's
is
clearly
some
not being cleaned.
Dust and debris. Right, it's not being kept up, that's for certain.
But it doesn't seem like nobody's been here in 100 years.
So what you want to do is detect signs of recent passage?
Yeah.
Give me an incredible perception check, not a simple 21. Give me something really good here. Pigeon, this is probably your specialty.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like the answer is, like, obviously, yeah, someone's been here. But I can give it to you.
Give it to me. I'm asking for it.
26.
Yeah, there's not, like,
good.
footprints. There's not, like, coaster rings. There's no obvious sign that this is occupied or frequented. But it is it is a trap set on a door, so...
Okay, I don't want to argue about this for ages or anything, but I feel like a building that had no one in it for 100 years would look very different to an unmaintained building that people had passed through relatively.
Certainly, but the war wasn't 100 years ago, right? This area's been collapsed for maybe a decade.
Oh, right, sorry. Yeah. Well, it's quite a long time.
Obviously, people are going through here. This guy came with a note, right?
Not necessarily. It could be something's hidden here, or there's an entrance to the underground lair here that they've just found out it's here, and they're saying it could be it's here. No one's been, but fine. We keep going then.
Yeah. You can search the house, pretty easily. And without a terrible amount of having to look around things, you can find some disused corner that has some broken tables. And as you're picking through things, you lift up one of these, broken down tables. And there in the floor is a metal door with a lock on it.
I guess this is it.
I'll go to the door.
Yeah.
Wait.
Find and remove traps.
Yeah.
You take a look at this nice big metal door sealed into the ground here. Stonework on all sides of it. It's got a lock. You're going to inspect it for roll me your lockpicking check.
20.
Yeah, it doesn't look to have any traps on it, but it does look like a very high quality lock. You'd need a 15, maybe a 16 in lock picking to do this, and I think you're stuck at a 14 right now.
Yeah.
This lock is beyond your ability. You're pretty certain.
Okay.
I can't open this one.
Why not?
It's too complicated.
Let me have a look. I sit down, I take a look, and deep down he knows that Pigeon's better at lockpicking than he is, and determines the same thing. And he goes, fuck! Oh, shit, what do we do now?
I don't know. We could tell the Copperheads. I know one of them is really good at lockpicking, better than me.
We could try and... What, so, you just said I recognize Nero, Neil. Do I know him? I'm not saying we're friends or anything, but...
You're not
we
friends
know
or
of each other.
anything. Yeah. You know that Nero is one of these people who moved here as a refugee from Copper Hill. He's with the rest of the Copperhead gang. And you've been at the same bar as he has been sometimes, and you've seen his friends chatting with him. And I think the two of you, the one interaction you had was there's a game of darts going on, and the two of you played against each other for darts. And looks like you won a few copper off of him one time, and then he ran off with the rest of his friends. He's sort of a known figure within the gang, but he's like a lower level guy.
If I wanted to get in touch with him, could I do so? Like, could I go to that bar potentially?
Mm-hmm.
As an avenue to look for him?
Yeah, if you wanted to get in touch with him, you could go into one of the taverns or bars within their territory that they're known to frequent and ask around if anyone's seen Nero, because you want to talk to him. And that's not necessarily an unusual thing. Maybe he's a contact of yours. Maybe you buy things from him. Maybe he does favors for you. Maybe you hire him for who knows what. Like, it would definitely let everyone know that you're looking for Nero, but that's the whole point of going to these places, is to find the folks you need.
Maybe we should go back home, stash the armor and the weapons, and head over into the Copperhead's territory. Go to the old Vic. See if we can't find Nero there or one of his friends.
What do you want to do about this? Do you want to leave it for the future?
Yeah, I say we leave it for now. Maybe we tell Nero about it. Maybe we come back when you've had a bit more time to practice.
Okay. I'll replace the table that was broken kind of over this. We'll reset the trap and we'll leave.
Yeah, I think we head back home.
Can I reverse pick the front door? And
like to lock it?
Yeah.
In theory, absolutely 100%. That is something that can be done. Yes.
I think I want to do it.
Yes. The lock here is not great. It's not terrible. It looks like it was... Let me get to... So, it was a good lock, but time and disuse has damaged it a little bit. So it has a lock-picking skill of 12.
Okay.
So it would take you D4 hours to repick it into being locked. Totally doable, but it's just it's a bit of time.
Is that maybe it's too much like evidence to leave behind that we've been here?
It's up to you.
Well, I could take your armor and weapons and head back to the house myself. Come and pick you back up, and we could head over to Nero if you want to do it. But
let me do it. Here.
And I'll take off my armor. I'll keep my weapons because they're just daggers.
Yeah, okay.
And a lasso, but yeah.
So I take our stuff back to the house. I check on the red coat.
Wait, you say you take your stuff back to the house. Are you leaving Pigeon behind unarmored in the ruins to pick this lock by himself for a couple of hours?
That was my plan.
That's the plan, I think, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
Pigeon would speak up if he didn't feel comfortable.
No, I'm comfortable, and I got crazy perception. I think Pigeon feels fine about it.
I'll be back in an hour or so. It doesn't take that long to get to our house.
All right.
Yep, I'm fine with it.
Pigeon is killed by a pack of wild dogs.
Pigeon will be interrupted by a pack of wild dogs at some point, but with his crazy high perception, make me a perception check. Yeah, you'll notice them well before they're even
Holy shit,
remotely a
17
danger.
perception. Oh, smart.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll take you hours to do the lock. You can make your way back home, and I think by then it'll be almost near sunup. Not quite.
Because I'm
but
intimately familiar with this lock now, is it going to take me hours to open it up again?
it will take you less time, but it will still take you a while.
A bit of time. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because
But
this
is it each time I do it that I'm going to get better at this particular lock and go down a degree, or?
That's a great. I haven't devised a system for that, but I will put something together to reflect your growing familiarity. But the bigger point is that this is a lock that's. You've got 14 skill. The base skill of this lock it would
12.
be 10, and so that would be the representation of how familiar you are. But this is an old, sort of decrepit, in bad shape lock, and so everything's a little bit rusted and everything's a little bit harder to work and turn. So the best way to get better at this lock is just to level and have better lock picking skill, because this is at the verge of your understanding, and so yeah.
Cool.
You might get a little better, but you're never going to get like, I'm going to do this lock in a minute unless you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get better.
Yeah.
When I get back to my house, I take a considered path so that when I first see it, if there's like people there in my house, I can get away from them before they see me, if you know what I mean. Like I approach it from a covered angle where I can get a look at it and see what's going on and make sure it's safe.
You approach your corner house maybe from down the street on the opposite side.
Yeah.
Well, there's no scallywags lurking around the front door of your house. If there's somebody here for you, they're either inside already or in a house across the street looking out through a darkened window.
Yeah. So I pull my key out of my pocket, put it into the lock on the door. It's still locked, isn't it?
Yep.
I turn the key, close the door behind me.
Yep.
I wait a few moments with my hand on my sword. Hearing nothing, I quickly walk to the cupboard under the stairs and stash the armor and my sword belt.
Easy peasy.
I go and get my overcoat, put that back on, make sure that my daggers are strapped and stuff like that, and then I head back out the house, locking the door behind me.
Excellent.
And as I close the door, I look up and down the street, see if anyone's like watching me out their windows.
There's no lights on in any of the windows. If someone's watching, they're watching from a darkened room. It looks
That's fine. Okay. Close the door quietly, lock it slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Pull the collar up on my jacket, pull my shoulders up height so it's blocking the wind, and then I start walking back through the streets to where I left Pigeon.
Okay. Well, the party can gather together again. We can sort of hand wave the rest of this. There's no more lurking shenanigans. It's fine for the night. You can pick up Pigeon, and by this point in time, by the time he's done redoing the lock, you sat for 4 or 5 hours watching this place. You had to find it. Then he has to pick the lock, which takes about 3 hours. It's near sunup by the time you're all done. Not quite, but the sun will be coming up soon. The taverns and bars, even if they don't close, you're not going to find anyone tonight. It's too late.
No. So as Pigeon sort of stands up from the lock and turns around, I say, "It's done."
Yeah.
I mean, the sun's coming up, so we're not going to find Nero at this time anyway. We haven't slept all night. Why don't we go home, get some sleep, and then we can head to the Old Vic tomorrow afternoon.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Let's get back home. I'll go out and get us some food. We'll get something to eat, and then we can get to sleep. So I drop Pigeon off back at the house, and then I head out to try and find some food. There is a local kebab shop on the opposite corner. On the opposite corner of our street that is open late. Whether it's open this late, I don't know, but I think that's my best chance at something that I can actually get at this time without having to wait an hour to get breakfast somewhere. So I head over to the
kebab
shop, which is called Raj's. Raj is from Akuba. Okay, he makes kebabs. What's wrong with that? Why is that funny? That's like the name of like 20% of all kebab shops.
I know. I'm just getting like extremely London feels or British feels based on everything.
That's what we're going for.
All right. You go to Raj's kebab shop, but there's no way it's open at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, I know. But I go up to the door and I open the like the letter. You don't have that now. You guys have got letterboxes, but there's like a little. It's like what's the name of it? It's like a thing on your door that can flap open. Yeah, so you can put mail in the door.
Yeah, we got mail slots.
So okay. So I open that, I crouch down, I go, Raj, it's Luther. Are you still open?
Dead silence from the inside.
Fuck. I let the mail thing close. I look down the street. Is there anything open? Like, is there like a corner shop
that
I could go to buy some bread or something?
It's the middle of fucking night. It's dead. I mean, the bakeries are probably starting up and making today's food, but
yes, maybe they can. Maybe get some leftover Maybe get leftover pasty from yesterday.
You can't. So you guys are too poor to afford this level of going out and eating. Y'all are broke ass bitches. You can buy yesterday's bread and eat some old stale yesterday's brie. But you're not at the level of affluence where you can afford to buy pastries on a whim.
Well, not pastry, a pasty. That's humble.
I'm sorry, I don't know what a pasty is then.
I was just watching a movie last night with an American that was confused by this as well. No, it was a Frenchman. A pasty is it is pastry, but it's usually got like a filling inside the pastry. Like it's pastry, but without the R if you want to Google it. A pasty.
Like it's got a meat filling on the inside?
Yeah, usually got its meat. It's got a meat filling.
Meat's too expensive for you all. Meat's pricey, bitches. Y'all are at the lowest level of the economic tier right now. You're living in the slums right next to the abandoned part of town.
Can't even get fucking cheese and onion pasty.
Y'all are getting like meat once a week. You can buy some stale bread. You gotta make some money.
I go and get some stale bread from the bakery though.
Yeah, he's got some rye bread for you from the bakery that's just starting. Not a problem.
Yeah, okay.
Was Raj not open?
Fuck is lazy. He's already gone to sleep, I think. But hey, I got some bread. We can we can warm it up by the fire. It'll be all right. We've got like a black cast iron cooking pot that like hangs over the fire. I put the loaf of bread in
100 years probably.
Yeah. I put the loaf inside the cast iron pot and then like move it over to the fire just to kind of let it like it's in an oven, cook for 10 minutes so it's not stale as fuck.
Yeah. Fine. It'll take a while. You can make your food. You've got a good stock of firewood now. It'll probably last you another couple months. Eventually you're going to have to buy, a whole bunch of new firewood and have it brought over in order to keep everything going. It's a problem for another day. Be wrapped into your monthly finances as well.
Yeah. So, we eat and then get some sleep.
Okay. Ooh. Afternoon comes and you wake up.
Yeah.
City is hustling. The city is bustling. But what is waking you up?
I go over to Pigeon's room.
Is the knocking at your door.
So my eyes open up and I sit up in bed and then I hear the knocking again. I stand up. I pull a dagger from one of my sheaths that I've got on the side of my bedside table or whatever. And I tuck it under my belt. And I come out of my room. I go over to Pigeon's room and I kick the door. Pigeon, get up. Somebody at the door. Get ready. And I go downstairs.
Pigeon, are you coming?
Yeah, Pigeon gets up and moseys on down.
Do I have a peephole in the door?
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, so I look out the people.
Yeah, standing outside are 3 well-dressed youths in red coats.
Fuck. I put the latch on the door, and I open it up.
The latch?
Hello?
One of
Like
the,
a little chain on it.
You know,
it
on your
can't get
hotel
pushed
room?
open.
Oh, right. So, yeah, you can do that. That'll stop some gentle entry, but that can be kicked down pretty easy.
Yeah, sure. It can be kicked down, but they can't just like shove the door open when I open it and barge in.
Yeah, the door opens a crack. You look on out, and you get the attention of the well-dressed young youths before you. And the first one will take off their big hat with a feather in it and give you a graceful, humble bow. A bow that a nobleman would never give someone of your status.
Yeah.
Maybe this is like a joke and an intentional slight, or maybe they're trying to make a really good impression. Who knows? But they doff their cap to you. They give a graceful bow, and they say, "My lord, may we come in?"
Is it Raj?
I call down the stairs as I come.
It's not Raj. What do you 3 want?
We wish to
You got
speak
better things
to you.
to do than
Please,
bothering the likes
let
of us
in.
out here, haven't you? I look them up and down. Are you armed?
They are. They have rapiers at their sides. There's 3
I've
of
got a young kid in here. I'm not letting 3 armed men in my house. Go and find somebody else to bother. And I close the door.
Well, you can look through the people, and the 3 of
Yeah.
them are standing outside, chatting amongst themselves.
I put my ear to the door.
Give me an eavesdrop check. You are listening through a door. That's probably an inch of.
But mate, wait, but no. I slightly open the mail slot, so a little bit of extra sound.
Crouch down to the mail slot.
Yeah.
And open it. I would think they're about 20. They're probably about 15 feet from you, so it's a penalty of 2 on your check for their
Wait,
distance.
are they not on the door? I thought they were on the doorstep.
Yeah, they take a step back. Well, there's.
Okay.
They're in a line, right? They're not all crowded up to the door, and so when this happens, they move off the door for a moment. They're about 15 feet away from you, which is a penalty of 2. They're just talking. They're not in a low voice or anything like that. So, eavesdrop at
Just
minus
2?
2. Yeah.
No.
It's a 15. You can't quite make over the sounds. Pigeons coming down the stairs.
Pigeon,
Ah,
get over here.
I'll go
It's
crouch down.
3 redcoats armed.
oh, we're gonna die.
They walk back to the door, the same one as before.
Go and
Nice big
hide.
knock.
Go and hide.
I will hide. Where's
Like-
our good hiding places?
Yeah.
Oh,
Under the
like,
cupboard
how do
under
I
the
go-
stairs.
Yeah, I go under the cupboard, I guess.
So is this the we've mentioned this cupboard twice now. Is this the cupboard under the stairs that lead to the second floor, or the cupboard under the stairs that lead to the basement?
The cupboard under the stairs that leads to the second floor.
Excellent, thank
That's
you.
right,
It's like built into the staircase.
Yes,
if you
perfect.
can imagine.
yeah,
it.
I just didn't know if it was on the ground floor, or if it was in the basement.
Okay, yeah.
No, yeah, it's on the ground floor. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
So once
I'm inside
Pigeon
and
is-
I'm like putting on my leather armor.
once the door is closed to the cupboard,
Mm-hmm.
I open the door with like quite violently, like I open it and I said, I
All
thought
the
I
way?
told you guys to get lost. No, not all the way.
Oh, just okay.
on the chair. I thought I told you to get lost. What do you want?
This is when one of those boots, the foot of their boot, comes and sticks in the door jamb. Not enough to open the door, but
Classic
enough that you
cop
would have
technique.
a hard time closing it now. Now it's sort of just jammed in this state. The guy doesn't bother to doff his cap, but he does rest his hand on the hilt of his rapier. And he says, "You will open this door immediately, pleb.
And who are you?
I am the great. I am the magnificent Claudius. And you will open the door, or you will face my wrath, citizen."
Well, why didn't you just say that? I sort of slowly.
He's got to close the door to open it. That's the issue right now.
You say, why didn't you say this? And he'll remove his boot so that you can close it to open it.
So I close the door, I open the chain, and I open the door. I take a wide stance, about 5 feet away from the entrance to the door.
The three
So
of
they're
them
not easily,
will...
they can't easily pass me in the corridor, is my point.
I'm gonna eavesdrop, and if I fail this roll, I don't think I should be able to hear what they're saying.
That's correct.
So I'll take this off. Here you go.
Oh, butchered of a check.
All right, just wave like this. I'm gonna mute in Discord.
They kind of open up. They walk in. You're 5 feet away and taking a wide stance.
I'm not like inviting them into the living room. Like I'm opening the door so they can come in a little bit, but
the first person will step in and sort of look around. You're sort of blocking their route. The others will pile up behind him. He will say, "And this is what you call a home?" Oh,
it's been in my family for generations. You entitled fuck.
has it really? You actually own this place, and you own it with pride.
I rent.
It's not been in your family for any time, then. Oh, where?
My family have lived here for a long time.
Yes.
What is it I can help you, esteemed gentleman, with?
I'm looking for Reginald.
I'm
I have
afraid I don't know anyone called Reginald.
I have it on good word that he visited you yesterday in the morning.
Sorry, does this look like the kind of place that Reginald would visit? Do I look like the kind of man that Reginald would have business with?
No, but
I'm
you look
lucky
like
to
the
get
sort of man who would profit off his death.
Well, is he dead?
I would like to see the body, but I've been told that he died on your doorstep.
Oh, the guy who died on the doorstep. Why didn't you say that? Sure, yeah, come in. I walk into the living room.
They will walk in after you. They'll shut the door. And someone, as they're walking in, will just kick over one of your chairs. They're just going to do a little bit of like intimidation tactics, just knocking over your stuff. If you've got something on the wall, someone will like knock it off to look behind it. They just start tipping over some things, exercising their bane, their authority, their untouchable status, or not untouchable, but greater status. Where is he?
Well, he's dead.
And?
Well, I shrug my shoulders. What do you want with him?
We want him.
Why?
You do not need to know our reasons. It is only your job to lick the boots of your better and to show us where our fallen comrade lays. Take me to his body with no more lip, sir.
Listen, I could take you to Reginald's final resting place, but what's in it for me?
Your life?
Oh, so you come into a man's home and you threaten his life. That's what speaks for honor amongst you and your folk, is it?
They laugh amongst each other, and they all rest their hands on the hilts of their swords and take one of these like very casual postures. So we can search your house with you alive or not alive. This is the last time I will tolerate your bravado. After this, we'll stick you full of holes and leave you to hang as a warning.
Understood. Okay. I'll take you to. You interested in his things? I also have some information.
I'm listening.
About whom I have done this to Reginald.
Mm-hmm.
You want the body?
Body first, story second.
Follow me. I walk to the entrance to the cellar.
All right. Down to the cellar you go.
I open the door, and then I say, he's down there.
They gesture down for you to lead the way.
I'm scared of the dark.
They
Fine.
draw their sword. The
I
first guy
go-
draws
I
his
go
sword. Okay.
All right, fine. I go.
Excellent. They will follow you after you into the dim, dingy cellar.
Fuck. Yeah. I motion to the floor.
You buried him?
I buried him. I didn't know what else to do.
They look around. Does the shovel... Do you keep the shovel in the cellar?
Yeah.
They'll draw a sword, point to the shovel, and then point to you.
You want me to dig him up?
I would like to see the body.
You guys want a cup of tea or something? This might be a while.
We'll make our own arrangements.
All right. I get the shovel.
Okay.
Fuck. I start digging.
Yep.
Mr. Moon, are you here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you had muted yourself or something.
No, I did, but then I saw you wave.
Perfect. Okay.
I start digging.
Yeah.
I'm still
It's-
in the cabinet.
Been a while in the cabinet. Like you heard some sounds. There were some footsteps. There was some muffled talking, but it was kind of hard to hear what was going on. Because it's a nice solid cabinet that you've got here. It's been in your family for generations, and after a while passes, like you stop hearing the footsteps and the noises, and some more time passes.
Open the cupboard a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
you can
hopefully silently.
open the cupboard, poke your head out, and see that no one's in the living room. But the doorway that leads to the staircase that goes down to the cellar is open, and there's light shining from within the cellar.
Is our front door open?
Front door is shut.
Okay, I'm in my leather armor
Yeah.
at this point. I will move silently to the doorway, to the downstairs.
A move silently check. 15. Oh, you butcher it. You start walking over there, but all of your furniture is knocked over. Like someone has sort of fucked up your house, and in the process, something that was precariously perched knocks over the rest of the way and makes like a bit of a noise. Maybe someone notices, maybe someone doesn't. It's the sort of thing that no one would notice unless they were super suspicious. But you get to the staircase and you can look down the cellar door, and there
No, I
you
think
can
he was going. I thought you were going to the front door, aren't you?
No, I'm going to the cellar door.
Oh, you're going to the cellar door. Okay.
You can look down, and there's Luther, shovel in hand, digging a hole, while 3 redcoats stand around him. One of them has a rapier out already and is just sort of like resting their hand on it as it's pointed into the dirt floor. And the others are standing comfortably, watching Luther labor in the dirt.
Do they can get
fuckers.
behind anyone and like cover
Oh,
them
You
with
are
a dagger?
absolutely. Yeah, you could totally get the drop on one of these guys. No problem. Pigeon.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I would
Are you
go there
sure?
And I would have this is what I
Yeah.
would do, right?
Excellent.
Luther looks like he's fucked. We're
We're
about to get
TPKing
found.
right now, boys. Let's go.
So I would go silently as I can, and I would
Yeah.
get behind him and I'd hold one of them at like dagger point. Like there.
Absolutely. You begin to go down that staircase, and let's just make sure that one of these people, they will need they're just gonna need to pass a perception check to notice you coming down because you killed your move silently. So a 14 for the first one. There are 3 of them.
Oh.
2, 3. One of them
got
will
it.
notice. The others are rolling very, very badly here. One of them will notice you coming down the staircase.
Should we
or
roll-
hear
Well,
the sound
gonna
of your
say, like,
foot
initiative.
on the staircase and turn.
Let me roll a perception check, please, as well.
Yeah. No,
Indeed.
one of them will call you out, and immediately, rapiers are coming out. No one's surprised by the situation. You're like just starting to come down the staircase when the one guy like points.
I drop the rapier and I'm standing there with my hands up in leather armor.
Mm-hmm. All right, all 3 of them now have their weapons drawn. What's this? Is this the small child you were talking about?
This is my boy. Yeah. Listen. I'm sorry. He's not all. He's not the sharpest. Pencil in the pencil case or tool in the shed.
Mm-hmm. One of the redcoats will make his way up the staircase, rapier pointed at you the whole time, Pigeon, and kind of look you over. Armor? What would a common boy like you need armor for?
The streets are tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have my hands out.
Poke
If I
his
wanted
sword in your direction. Up, he says, trying to get you to leave the cellar.
I will start walking backwards.
Yeah. Where did you get this leather armor?
I mean, I just bought it, right? Or
Yeah, you
do you
bought
want
it.
like a...
I just bought it.
Uh-huh. Did you now? Excellent.
Yeah.
Show me where you keep it.
I will take him upstairs if he will follow me.
He's gonna take advantage of Pigeon.
Yeah, he keeps you at sword point, and if you take him upstairs, he will follow you upstairs at sword point.
Quick question about the basement whilst this is happening. When he first comes down and they're like surprised by him, in theory, could I have backstabbed one of them with a dagger or not?
You could have tried to make an attack roll. Like, you could have rolled in for initiative and tried to surprise him, but I don't think that would qualify as an assassin.
It wouldn't be a sneak attack.
No. Everyone's guard is way up in this situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what I will say though is I was like, Pigeon, don't do anything stupid.
Okay. I will...
It's gonna be up in my room.
And I'll take him to my room.
Yeah, well, he'll follow you at sword point, making you walk upstairs and walk in front of him every step of the way. You'll take him to your room, and he'll look through it, and he'll tell you to, like, you know, toss off the sheets, toss off the blankets, open those drawers. He essentially gets you to loot your own room for
Can
him.
I size this guy up?
Yeah, totally. This guy's a lot shorter than you, for certain. He's like 5'8", 160 pounds. You know, he's not nothing, but he's a lot smaller than you. Now, the redcoats, you know, they are sort of wealthy noblemen, and that's one of the big problems here, is that they have proper training. They have proper, like, warrior... They probably all have masters to teach them how to use swords and weapons and whatnot. And so this guy actually knows what he's doing. He's got this rapier that he's facing you with. And
Got
good
it. So he looks
fighter?
to be like at least a second level fighter would be my guess.
Yeah, he's probably a second or third level fighter or rogue of some kind. And he's got a rapier, which does D6 against medium creatures. And he's got it drawn and on you, so if any shit goes down, he's got the drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to Luther?
We're not here for Luther. We're here for Reginald. What's your name, young man, with the beady eyes, the bulging beady eyes?
I'm Pigeon.
And yeah, I'll continue to like show off the room, and I would say,
Yeah.
It was under my bed.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything in your room? I'm going to just poke through your house tab. Nope, just your armor and your shit. Cool. Where do you keep your wealth, Pigeon? Where's your gold and 5 silver?
I probably have that on myself right now.
Perfect. Yeah. After it is clear that there's nothing of value in this room for you, he will point to whatever, you know, pockets you have, ask you to turn them out. If you've got any bags or purses on you, he'll ask you to turn it out. And when you turn out your money,
These
he will
fuckers, they really want to
take
steal
your
all one
gold and your 5 silver.
What a cunt this guy is. Oh my god, I already hate these redcoat fuckers so much.
And then after that, he'll march you over to Luther's room and have you loot Luther's room as well. Luther, where was that red coat stored?
In my bedroom, in a drawer, with the rapier.
Perfect. Well, they'll find, but not your chain shirt. That's not up there. That's
That's the cupboard
cupboard
downstairs.
inside.
Well, they'll get the rapier and they'll get the red cloak and they'll bring it back down. Luther, are you doing any crazy shit in the basement, or are you just digging up a body?
No, I'm digging.
All right, excellent. We'll just skip forward in time a little bit. You come back down, and this this cur his name is Winston, will say, boys, look what I found upstairs. And he'll hold the cloak and the rapier in hand. Looks like we found ourselves a pair of murderers.
No, hang on.
Thieves,
That's not true.
a pair of brigands. Where were the other things you found on poor Reginald?
Let's
Where's
get
the key?
Reginald out of the dirt, and I'll tell you the story.
Is he even in the dirt, or is this just some wild goose chase so that you can buy time for your boy to stab us in the back?
No, he's here. I think I saw a finger a minute ago. I like keep digging. I'm hoping I'm close to him at this point.
Pretty soon you'll start running into
I move some dirt
flesh.
off his face.
Yeah, your
And then
shovel
I climb
will
back up.
go into the ground,
Yeah.
but it'll like hit Reginald and like pierce through part of his body, and you'll be like, oh, yep, this is definitely corpse.
I rub the dirt off his face to reveal it, and then I climb back out of the hole. And I say, all right, well, here he is. Like you say, I took his coat and his weapon off him.
Ugh. Why did you bury him?
Like I said, it was quite a panicking situation, and I was worried. I didn't want a body in my basement, rotting, drawing the attention of, the dogs, the monsters that climb over the walls in the ruins at night.
Oh, yes.
Last thing I want is a body rotting in my cellar. You think I'm stupid?
And
Maybe
then,
where you're
then
from,
of course, you
that's-
were just simply holding on to his possessions for safekeeping until you could return them to us, right?
Well, I didn't think you'd miss it. But I thought if you came looking for it, I'd have them.
Yes. Good Samaritan and good citizen you are. Clearly knowing your place in society.
Like I said, I've got some more information if you find gentlemen are willing to hear it.
We are willing to hear it, and it may even save your life.
Hey, Luther can tell you who did it.
Shall we go back upstairs?
Oh, I don't
say,
think
like,
so. But do
the-
finish as you're talking, unburying this body. We may need a shallow grave in the near future.
Tell him who did it, Luther.
I
Yes,
jump
Luther.
back down into the hole, and I say, well, 2 guys. I'm pretty sure they're from the Copperheads. They killed them on... There was a knock at our door. I opened the door to find Reginald here in a pool of his own blood with 2 men in dark cloaks rifling through his possessions. When I opened the door, they fled.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll
I
kind of speak up
think
here.
I recognized one of them.
Yeah, Luther saw their face. We can bring him to you.
I recognized
him.
one of them from a tavern in the Copperheads district. That's how I'm saying. I think they're from the Copperheads.
I see. And you thought this is best kept to yourself. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
I'm not an educated man, Winston or Claudius, but my suspicion was that if I were to go and speak to you fine gentlemen, given my current predicament, that perhaps my story wouldn't be so readily believed. And I hoped, perhaps naively, that I could bury this all under the carpet, to coin a phrase.
And how did that work out for you?
Yes, well, not so well. I've been interrupted during my lunch, but, in the
And
grand scheme of
last
things.
24 hours? What progress have you made in tracking down this ruffian? This murderer?
Well, we were gonna get him
Wow.
tonight.
Why
Well,
not last night? Why not yesterday
was in-
during the day?
It's not our business to track this man down. Why would we, you want me to kill him on your behalf?
They look up to Pigeon. They look down to Luther. They will motion Pigeon down the stairs with some rapiers. And
Follow.
they'll take the cloak and rapier that they've got, of course. They'll tell you to keep unburying the body. They're going to go upstairs and chat amongst themselves for a moment. And they'll shut the door at the top of the staircase, leaving the 2 of you in the basement with a shovel and a body and also no light, conveniently. So how the hell are you supposed to dig a hole when they're not even giving you light? And you can hear
Well, I think I
laughter
can- upstairs
as they're chatting amongst themselves. You can light your
Can
lantern,
you
obviously.
hear what they're saying?
I'll listen from here, but I'm not going to the door.
All right.
Here's a eavesdrop check from far away. 22.
From far away, that's probably not going to cut it. You can hear like the chatter that's happening, but you won't be able to put together anything more than like, what should we do with these guys? The
Once I get
the conversation, I'm going to be lost.
Reginald's body free from the dirt, I shout up the stairs, Claudius, Winston, I'm going to need a hand getting him out the hole.
Okay. Yeah, you say that. They'll open the door. Get you and your boy to pull him out. Drag him up. Carry him gently up here.
It's too heavy.
Figure it out.
I'll try and help him bring him up.
The boy's weak, I think to myself.
But you're not.
I try and haul him out, yeah.
You've got 16 strength. Yeah, you can totally carry out a body. Not a problem. You don't even need Pigeon's help to do it.
Really? Okay.
You got 16 strength. You're a big, strong man.
Yeah, well, pulling a body up like 5 foot vertical, that's heavy. That's not easy.
You can fireman's lift him. It'll be fine. Pigeon will help.
Sure.
It'll be great.
Yeah, all right, I get him out.
You'll get him to the top of the staircase. And
Oh, I'm bringing him all the way up the stairs as well.
yeah, all the way up the stairs. Yeah.
Okay.
And there the 3 redcoats are standing about, joking amongst themselves. They see Reginald, and they'll take a moment of silence. They'll take their hats off. They'll let their rapiers down. They'll close their eyes. There's a brief moment when they're not paying attention. You could surprise attack and kill them right now.
We
I'm
let
not
the
doing
moment
that.
pass, yeah.
It passes. Put their hats back on. They look at poor Reginald. One of them will squat down next to him and look over. There's like the shovel, where the shovel first hit him in the face or something. And then there's the daggers, holes in his body where he was stabbed multiple times. And they'll go through his possessions and stand up and shake their heads. And one of them, first one's name not Claudius.
Winston,
Gaius?
Claudius, Gaius.
Was it Claudius?
Claudius,
Claudius,
Winston.
thank you.
Yeah.
Claudius will look at you and say, "What else did you take off of his body?"
Nothing. The coat, the rapier, that's it.
Who was this man that you saw that killed him?
I don't know his name, but I know where I've seen him. In the Old Vic, in Copperhead territory.
Describe him.
Maybe just under 6 foot. Short brown hair, blue eyes. Heavy built, strong guy. Maybe not as big as me, not as skinny as you.
Mm-hmm.
I say, looking him up and down a little. As I say
Is this
that.
a truthful description that you're giving?
Yeah, it's a truthful description of Nero. I don't want to give them his name because I feel like that is stretching too far into being a snitch.
Yeah.
But I'll say, I think he's from the Copperheads and I've seen him in this tavern.
Well, you have done wrong today. Both of you, Pigeon and what was your name?
Luther.
Luther and Pigeon. You've made a mistake. When this man died upon your doorstep, you should have immediately brought him to us with full honors and roses and begged our forgiveness for letting him die upon your doorstep. But
Of course,
you
my
have
lord.
somewhat redeemed yourself by being observant enough to catch the form and figure of this man and able to tell us something about him. So we will let you live with your lives, but we must let you... We cannot let your treasons go unpunished. And so, he points to your clothes. Disrobe. As punishment, we will leave you without your clothes. And then we will go.
Excuse me?
Trousers,
We
shirt.
can't afford more clothes, my lord.
That sounds like your problem. If you had brought him to us, we would have paid you. And instead, here, you will learn the price for not looking out for your betters, for not doing your part as a good citizen. The worst people.
I'm just wearing I'm wearing my wife beater and my trousers for now.
Okay.
My lovely black wool overcoat is in the cupboard under the stairs, which hopefully they won't find.
Oh yeah, they
So
haven't
it's
searched
too
the house
expensive
at
to
all.
replace.
Yeah.
At least leave the boy with his decency.
I'm sure you can find some rags around the house to cover up your boyhood.
What do you want me to roll for dick size, Neil, as I take my clothes off?
I just want you to declare your dick size. I don't want you to roll
I want to roll it.
Then you
I take
can
off
roll
my
anything you want. Whatever you think is a fair roll.
3d6. No, that's huge. 3d4. There you go.
There you go.
Nice.
Excellent.
I take off my clothes and I let my member flap about.
I take off my sweaty, bloody, dirty vest.
Mm-hmm.
And I scrunch it up into a ball. And I kind of wring it, to the sweat fall out of it. And then not overhand, but underhand, I just throw it at Claudius.
Yeah. He'll do his best to bat it away with his rapier, which will be just a good old fashioned attack roll. You get an idea for what sort of combat capability he's got. He's rolling at +2 to hit.
+2.
It's not great. It's not terrible.
He's like a level 3 rogue or like a level 1 fighter, maybe, with specialization. I kick off my boots.
Mm-hmm.
Happy?
Yep. Yes, they're happy. They will stick your clothes on the skewers of the rapier, so they don't actually have to touch them themselves. And then with caps doffed, they will walk out your front door and start, oh, body. Yes. They'll turn back and look at the body. And then they'll tell you that they'll send someone to get it and, to leave it intact and not, mutilate it or do anything untoward towards it. And then as quickly as they came, these great men of Stromheim, the future of the city, will leave you standing naked and penniless in your own house.
Luther, they took my money.
Those fucking cunts.
Did they take my leather armor or no?
No, they were going to, but it sort of slipped their mind. I think in the finding of the robes, of the cloak and the rapier, it just...
Nice.
You disrobed. They don't want to carry the leather armor. They leave it there.
I'm up 30 gold.
How are you up 30 gold?
Because I didn't steal my leather armor. I thought it was going to be gone.
Oh, no, nice. I guess it's a it's a win.
Mm-hmm.
I wait 10 minutes and then I put on my overcoat and try to go into the street and look for maybe where they've dumped our clothes.
Yeah, you can find that they've dumped your clothes in whatever pile of filth they can find. Whatever, chamber pot, gutter filled with, waste. They've just dumped your clothes there.
I mean, I go and pick them back up because we need clothes.
Yeah, they're pretty gross. You'll have to spend the day cleaning them, which is fine. You can just go get some more water and you can clean off your clothes and you can get redressed. But it'll be the rest of your day is washing the shit out of it.
Luther.
Yeah.
One of them said, "Where's the key?" I think that one guy took it to the door.
Yeah, you're right. Nero must have the key.
We need
but
to
he
get
doesn't
to Nero before they get to him.
Thing is, Nero doesn't know the address. But he does have the key.
We could take it from Nero and then we could go.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying, but he can't find it.
No,
so,
yeah.
You're right. Maybe there's a silver lining in all of this after all. I mean, at the end of the day, we've still got our clothes. We lost a couple of gold.
I didn't take him to where I really got the leather armor.
What do you mean?
I took him upstairs.
Oh, good. You didn't take him to the cupboard.
No.
Good. Yeah, well, we never take anyone into the cupboard. Just me and you. That's our cupboard.
Never tell anyone about the cupboard. Okay.
Never tell anyone what happens in the cupboard.
He kind of mumbles to himself.
Very British show we're doing today. All right. Well, your clothes can be cleaned.
Yeah.
I think this is a good place to wrap up for today. This is a perfect place to launch the next chapter, the next quest, the next session.
Yeah.
We're gonna go get fucking Nero. Take his shit. Take his clothing.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to just earn any sort of gold. Even if we make 20 gold, we'll be so infinitely richer. It'll be a major upgrade.
Because the total wealth of our party right now is 1 gold, 2 silver, 5 copper on Luther.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's it.
When is our rent due? What time of the month is it?
It's like 2 days.
I'll do some math in between sessions. I'll give you some charts and tables.
Cool.
But broadly, what is our rent? Is it in the region of like tens of gold, or is it like 1 or 2 gold?
We're gonna do.
We're just doing assets in general.
Yeah, we're doing the monthly expenses.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think we're doing the cheap stuff, which I need to double check the price on.
Oh yeah,
Money
definitely
and
on
equipment. Poor
the
5
cheapest
gold
end.
a month is what each of you owes, and that'll cover food. That'll cover all of your basic expenses, crappy food.
How much to go to Raj's every day?
Well, that's a middle class lifestyle. That's 50 gold per level.
Oh,
That's
mate,
our goal.
that's the line. That's our goal.
That's
Yeah.
our goal.
We should talk about that next time we're like planning a big job. When we get this, we'll be able to be at Raj's for a month.
Yeah, right now it's just like it's only special occasions like a birthday. Or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But in the future, we're gonna be there every day.
Right.
That's
We
good.
gotta-
I like that.
We got to start from the bottom if we're going to work our way to the top.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
No, I really enjoyed the session because I think we've got. I already knew I was going to hate the redcoats, but now I really, really hate them. And we've got some nice intrigue, like what's in the
They're
the
fucking
hatch?
terrible.
Who's Nero? What are the copperheads up to? This was a great sort of, especially we only played for 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a quick one.
Got
Yeah.
a lot of setting and fun.
Yeah. Well, it can be a little difficult to have characters like the Redcoats be such dicks and practice so much authority with no way to resist them and have it come off as enjoyable. So I'm glad you're still smiling at the end of that because
Yeah.
Yeah, like they didn't do anything that like. Oh, sorry, your mic went on. I think Neil.
Oh, no, you just started talking. It's fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
they didn't kill us or anything like that. Or
Yeah, they
attack
didn't
us.
kill us or anything or like evict us, so it wasn't terrible. But it does,
I mean,
suck that
they took your clothes and dumped it in poop.
Oh, they're proper fucking little shitters, especially when you consider they're like kids. And
Yeah.
I'm like a 40-year-old
Yeah.
bloke.
Yeah. And
Like,
you
at least
know,
we
come
got
into your
back.
house and knock over your shit and take the art off your walls and throw
Yeah,
it on
yeah.
the ground and make you ransack
yeah,
your
our
own
house
house
is
at
fucking
sword
ruined
point.
now.
Art is a strong word, but
Sure.
it's a
Okay.
picture that Pigeon drew when he was 7. Of a pigeon. But you wouldn't know it's of a pigeon. I only know that because he's told me. Or because he
Alright.
wrote Pigon on the
Oh,
paper
God.
next to it.
That's good. All right,
Oh, we
See you
everybody.
guys next time on
Hardly Heroes.
Boom.